so now it's time to plan out where you're going to place your wells. So when looking at my design here, I want to leave a little bit of space around the edge. So I might start by sketching the edge of where the wells could go. And the great thing about clay is it's pretty forgiving. If you get your line someplace you don't like, you literally just take and rub your finger over it. And then here, I do plan to have just a little indentation there to show that that's the edge of the shell. Now again, I can't go too deep, or what happens is it will create a weak point. So now I'm going to plan my wells. And then for the face, I've decided I just want to go ahead and do a little design. Okay, so the two tools that you will need next for this next part, you're going to want to have a ribbon tool, also known as a loop tool. You can see here it has a loop up here, and it's got like a flat loop on this side. We have these in different styles, so you might be working with a slightly bigger version, but this is what's going to help us carve out our wells. You'll also want to have a sponge, and then we're going to collect all the clay and recycle it at the end, so make sure you have a place to collect it. So I'm just going to start at the top and work my way down. I like to start with this side of my square loop or my flat loop, and I just carve a little bit out. This is one of those things where you want to remove a little bit at a time. You don't want to go overboard because it'll create a weak spot in your paint palette. But you also want to remove enough that you have room to mix your paint. So one way to kind of think about this is it should be about half of the clay that's there. So I think I can go just a little bit deeper. So I'm going to take my ribbon tool and carve out just a little bit more. And one way you can check how deep it is if you stick your needle tool in and pinch at the very bottom. So I have this much remaining in my clay. So I'd say that's probably a good stopping point. So I'm going to stop there. And then I can also take my ribbon and just kind of go around my edges. So right now I'm cleaning up the edges. Okay, so that looks pretty good. The next step I'm going to do is I can take and I can smooth my design. So you might use your finger a little bit to smooth the edges. Since these are going to be functional paint palettes, we want to make sure there are no rough spots. So we can use a sponge to smooth that out. We can also use, we have these wooden tools available at your table. So if you're having trouble getting down into that area with your finger, you might just take one of the wooden blending tools and use that. And if you want to, you can carve all of them first and then go back and smooth, or you might choose to smooth as you go. That's completely up to you. Just make sure that you're checking. Like I took out quite a bit of clay there. I'm a little worried that maybe I went a little too deep. So I might have to press some clay back into there real well. Yeah, I can tell right there I went too deep. So if you end up going a little bit too deep in an area, you can take the clay. Our clay is super fresh, and you can press it back in, or even better yet, you're going to want to score and slip. So that would be where you'd make those hatching marks. I can do the hatching marks on here. You should have slip at your table. I don't, so I'm just going to take a little bit of water and use that as my slip today. I'm just going to press that back in and smooth it out. Make sure you press it down firmly so there's no air trapped in there. And then I can take my ribbon tool again and work on kind of evening this back out. Okay, and then once you have it all done, you're going to put it back in your bag. And then fold it underneath, fold it underneath. And then take all your extras, wedge them into a cube so they can be recycled. Then be sure to shake your mat over the trash can to get rid of all those crumbs.